So another very interesting session. Sudheesh Nair, thank you so much for flying up from Palo Alto to be here with us.
Thank you, Pablo. This is the first time we are meeting, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see. So, okay, you have a very interesting background. You have built two multi-billion-dollar companies, Nutanix, ThoughtSpot, and now you're building another one. Just raised about 50 million, led by Iconic. Do you like pain? You like to well, tell me about what led you down this path to become a serial entrepreneur.
First of all, I just want to say how Seattle continues to scam the rest of the country. I mean, you guys always say, oh, it's rainy, it's depressing. When you come out, and this is the view. San Francisco doesn't have this view. I mean, this is unbelievable. Thank you for having me. This is so
Absolutely.
Good. I'm assuming that these days are just for me, right? I mean, this is not normal.
You're the one who brought it up. It was cloudy before you got here.
I am kind of sunshine, so that makes look, I think startups are not for everyone. I think Dr. Dang said this well. And I love the humility. He said, like, it's not for me. And the problem is most people don't get that. But I will also tell you, there is no better time to start companies than now. Because it's just magical. But that doesn't mean that everyone needs to do startups too. Some can join, some can be part of a larger company and then build a startup within. But this is the time to sort of, the way I think of it is like completely be constrained by your imagination, but nothing else. So I couldn't stand on the sidelines.
Absolutely. I heard a really interesting speaker at a summit in Miami not too long ago, and he was saying that creativity is infinite. And I feel like AI has allowed us to harness that to a limit that was never possible before. So I totally resonate with what you just said. And yeah, so I would love to understand a little bit about, I think it takes a special type of person to build these companies. So tell me about how you got started with the first one. How did you end up at, I believe it was Nutanix was first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I think the audience is very sitting back, so hopefully we can have some time for Q&A as well.
Oh yeah, we'll have plenty of time for that.
Look, I don't want to tell too much stories. Ultimately, it's all about right person, right people, right time, right network. And in general, my style has always been that I make quick decisions. When I see an A-B choice, I make a choice and then take one. So someone said once that if you're at a 4, take one. I live with that. The second part of that equation that most people don't tell you is that if you take the wrong path, you should be really good at forgiving yourself, learning from the mistake and never look back, and then keep doing it. And if you keep doing that, you can build companies, you can start companies, you can fail, you can learn, you can keep building. That's basically the story of my life, whether it is Nutanix or ThoughtSpot or now TinyFish. It's Nutanix essentially was the actual story. So Dheeraj, Mohit, and I, there are 3 of us who were together in another startup that failed phenomenally. It was a company that was invested by Vinod Khosla and raised a lot of money and a lot of amazing people and then failed. And the thing that I learned from that company is that you can have the best investors and the best people, but if the luck and timing are not on your side, and sometimes if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, it may not move forward. And those 3 things are completely different. Luck and timing, right? You could be the best product, but if you're too early, it could be a science project. And if you're too late, that could be a commodity. So, one of the things that when we are in this bubble on Twitter and LinkedIn, we look at this and say, oh, that's the formula, and this is the formula. They are doing it right there. The thing that you have to remember is that we are getting front row seat to a lot of performances. Like I'm going to perform TinyFish right now, and you are going to think like it's amazing. But I'm going to go back to TinyFish, but I get to see the backstage. And backstage, let me tell you, it's not pretty. So the challenge is, as you are absorbing all these performances constantly on LinkedIn and Twitter and on conferences like this where people like me come in and say amazing things, I don't want you to compare the performance to the backstage. You only have one backstage pass to your life, your company. So just build. Because remember, like this morning, OpenAI announced 5.4, and we had access to it, and we've been working with it for some time. And our internal channel, I posted something, Homer, my colleague here, can actually verify that. I was telling them that the medal of a real company, and I'm telling this to OpenAI, okay? I'm telling them that the medal of a real company is not proven when things are going well, but when they are down, when they are punched in the face. What do? Are they the kind of company that are coming together? Or are they the company that runs for the exit? And I'm saying this to OpenAI, and think about it. OpenAI, the largest company, like the phenomenon, but inside the company, they are under attack. I mean, it is insane to imagine a company, because it is still young, Microsoft, Amazon, you folks know this. It doesn't happen often. There is no guarantee that OpenAI is going to be the next Amazon. There is so much more that needs to happen for it to happen. And what OpenAI is going to show, hopefully, in the next few quarters and years, is that they don't get shaken. Because they are, trust me on it, they are under attack. The higher you fly, the lower you fall, the deeper you fall, right? Cursor, I mean, our company used to be all Cursor, now it's all gone. But it is a massive company, they have momentum. Harvey, I kind of disagree with that, because momentum matters. Because what you do with the momentum is up to you. None of these companies are guaranteed any kind of victory, whether it's incumbent or insurgents. All you have is a shot. And you know what? If you're a startup, that's the best time. Because startups don't get anything granted. You just have to freaking give me a shot, put me in, coach. That's it.
So you've been building AI companies before everybody was talking about it. I think everybody in this room can agree this is a very, very unique time. We're seeing, companies accelerate and grow at a rate that has never been possible. So where are we right now? If you had to map out, this AI boom, like 50 years from now, how are we going to look back and where are we right now today? And, what does the next 5-10 years look like from your perspective?
These are the kind of questions where all of us will be right, okay? Just because I'm here doesn't mean that I'm going to be the most right. But with that caveat, I will give you two kinds of answers. The first one is, in 1849, I know I'm a Niner fan, I know I don't like Seahawks, but that aside, hey, you can go all you want. Part of the reason was, so someone asked me, why do you hate Seahawks so much? And I didn't have any real good reason other than Pete Carroll and his chewing gum. Yeah. Freaking guys chewing gum and running around. I don't know, for whatever reason, I hate that. Now that you have a new coach, maybe I will hate you less. I'm being honest. It takes balls to come here and say I hate Seahawks. I did that. Niners, 1849, right? It's the gold rush. I'll give you three things that came out of gold rush. One, people were kneeling for a long time and they didn't have the right clothing. Jeans. I'm sure there are people still wearing. Levi's, there you go. Where they played. That's right. And won, yeah. And yes, by the way. Between them, I definitely want the Niners to win. I mean, Seahawks to win. Yeah. So jeans came out of that. 200 plus years now, we still wear jeans. I'm sure there are people in the room with jeans. Why was that? Because it was a product built not for gold rush, because of gold rush. Otis built elevators way before, but they found that as miners were going deep, they wanted safety harness because things were falling apart and people were dying. I just took a massive elevator to the 75th floor and it was booming, it fast. And I hope to God they have multiple safety harnesses. It came out of 1849, not because they were mining for gold, but it was happening and it was a necessity. And modern banking, SVB was here. Wells Fargo, people were up in the mountains, they wanted to share dollars back and forth with families in the East Coast. Modern banking came out of it. I have been through a couple of smaller ones like the cloud and mobile. And cloud built Seattle City, right? I mean, Amazon runs the world from here. Now, I believe that this is nothing like anything we have seen in our life. Maybe internet, but it could be bigger than that, which means that 50 years from now, 200 years from now, could there be people who still say this new version of genes came out of this? I think that potential exists because for the first time, reasoning can be on tap. And when reasoning can be on tap, it commoditizes so much more possibilities. I know that right now there are people who are afraid. If I saw 3 young men out there checking us in, I'm assuming they are in colleges or schools, and they must be thinking, what should I study? What is work going to be like when I get to work? And these are all.
They're building AI companies too.
There you go. Well, that's maybe the only job left. So there is uncertainty, but it is. I would rather live like I just took a flight, Alaska Airlines. The Bernoulli's theorem doesn't work unless there is chaos under the wings. If it is all stable, I'm going down. Startups are the kind of company that thrives on chaos. So that is the first answer. The second answer is we are early. So let's not throw everything we learned in terms of company building out the window saying none of those things matter. But at the same time, let's also not say that what worked in the past will work and what did not work may not work now. Because the foundations of how you build companies are essentially people. How you recruit, how you motivate, how you give them purpose, how you enable them. Those things haven't changed. And one common thing, whether it is Jeff Bezos' company or Bill Gates' company, is that no matter what you think of them from outside, I don't think any of us really know how good, or maybe Dr. Dan knows them because he's been there for a long time. The core thing that makes these people, they know how to harness amazing people and keep them inspired. In the world of AI, if you want to build companies that last a long time, you need to figure out how to find the best people and then make them inspired to stick around and build with you when chaos is multiplying. And that's hard.
I love that last point you just mentioned, because I feel like AI has made it so easy to build and deploy that the last frontier that AI will maybe never be able to replace is that human connection element, right? And that's what we're trying to do here today, right? Get people together and build those relationships. You never know where it could lead. So now moving on a little bit deeper, more technical. So what do you see as the biggest gaps today? And by the way, we're going to get to some audience questions right after this. So if you have questions, keep them in mind. But what do you see today as the biggest gaps? What is missing for us to maximize AI's potential? And where are the greatest opportunities today?
Look, I flew all the way here, so I'm going to play tiny fish. But I'll try to do this in so natural that none of you will feel like I was selling, okay? And let me know if I did not deliver on that. Look, I think AI is going to, this year specifically, AI is going to, like it's at the early stage of this multiple innings going on here. It's not football, this is like baseball. You can absolutely go out and get your beer. You're not going to miss anything. The last couple of years have been about the break. And now we think we have very high quality brain that can deliver things that we need to do. Now the next is arms and legs. That's where agentic revolution is starting. I think 2026 and next few years, can you do things with it? Memory, context, execution, scale. These are the sort of things that agentic AI is going to deliver. Tiny fish, we are dividing the world into two, intranet and internet. There are lots of action in the intranet. You talked about Harvey, talk about companies that are building context inside the data center, CRM, ERP, can we replace them, can we augment them? And the reason why there is so much is because A, number one, value. B, you're dealing with structured data. And it's much easier to deal with structured data. We are taking a counterintuitive bet here that web will be the place that will be the last bastion for agents, in the sense that web is inherently sort of confrontational with agents. Why is that? It goes back to the core idea of the primary use of web is commerce. We are buying things, selling things, listing things. That's what it is, right? Imagine Amazon sitting here in Seattle. What do they do well? People who bought this also bought that. If you only 2 items left, blue is gone. What are they doing? They are trying to sort of exploit the human emotion because we're weak. She has something, I want it too. And if I'm renting a car, it'll be like, would you like fuel option? And I'm thinking, I may need it because if I don't refill the gas, they're going to slam me for the full tank. These are all things that we worry with. Imagine agents are operating the web. They will not be like people who bought this also bought that. They'll be like, nah, I'm not a person. I don't care about that. Imagine your laundry is being done by robots, which, by the way, it's not science fiction. It's going to happen soon. If the laundry is being done by the robot, the last thing you're going to do is to buy laundry detergent. Like if you can do the laundry, you can buy the detergent. And if your bot is buying the detergent, it won't be like Brent's family likes Tide, and it likes vanilla flavor, and they want it to be organic. What the robot might do is to deconstruct that, chemically speaking, the molecular compounds, and say, you know what, I know exactly what makes things work. I don't care about the brand at all. I am just going to go find the exact molecular compound all over the web, 5,000 websites, because I don't have any impatience. I have unlimited time and resources. And by the way, I'm not going to pre-buy just because I'm going to Costco. Because I know that I buy a box and kit, and the other one I thought only had 2 more loads, and 20 loads later still there. So what it will do is it will know exactly how many times do they do laundry, how much do they have to consume, when will they have to order, what is the compound, and the thing that it will not care about is brand. Now, if you're Procter & Gamble, what have you done? You have invested massive amount of money on the brand, the color, the pictures, the shelf space, whether it's digital or as you walk into the Target. All of that can get destroyed. This is going to happen because the value is there for humans. If you are Coke, your car is driving autonomously means you're not buying impulse buy of that chips or drinks from the gas station. Guess what's going to happen to their business? The second order impact of agentic web access is massive. Tinyfish is building the infrastructure for agents to run the web. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because web is where every piece of valuable data starts. The problem is it is messy, it is noisy, it is unconsumed. It's not like the water. You can't drink the water from the river or from that ocean. It needs to go through the expensive process of filtering. The data goes through the same thing. ETL, pipeline, dbt, all of that stuff that you do, the Snowflake, Databricks, and then you put it on Tableau, another Seattle company. My friend here used to work there. And all of that, you know why? Because accuracy is more important than freshness. What if you can send these agents to the web with context and semantic knowledge of your business? Your business, just like a human being will be, but massive scale, and say, you know what, go fetch me whatever it takes, the right kind of data with absolute freshness and accuracy. And if you could do that, it will be non-emotional, it will be accurate, it has to scale, it has to be low cost, but it requires an infrastructure problem. And I think we are building that, but putting that aside, Tinyfish aside, making the web accessible for machines in a way that is very outcome focused versus humans who will still want to watch cat video. I'm not going to have my agent watch a cat video and then summarize it to me, like the cat jumped from A to B. That's no fun. So experiential web for humans will always be the same web that will be outcome web for the agents, which means it's an abstraction play. And that's always an infrastructure play. VMware and others who build these kind of stories for different places, taking the entire web is going to be one of the biggest challenges for AI agents. And I'm pretty excited. I think it is going to change commerce. It is going to change the way we consume and entertain and imagine, and the websites and WebMCP. There is massive amount of action. We are a little ahead, but that I think is not a bad thing.
Love it. Cool. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions. Unfortunately, we're getting a little bit crunch on time here, so we have time for one, maybe two if it's quick. But yeah, I see Samir raise his hand right away. So if you want to stand up and ask whatever you got. And try to project while you're...
Yeah, so Sudheesh, by the way, I think entrepreneurship is the ultimate form of self-expression. And what we're able to do now is going to significantly change it. And you are a great storyteller. And you plugged in Tinyfish so well that people didn't even know you're plugging in all across, by the way. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to share one thing and actually ask your feedback on one more. So you just talked about that the AI is not going to watch the cat videos. But with the open flow, they're going to be watching their own cat videos. They have no idea. They're going to start talking about things and going to watch videos. And who knows when agentic becomes a completely agentic where we are completely out of human loop. They will have all kind of things that we don't control right now. And they'll be looking at machine way of reading about cats than what we do anyway. So my point to you as you're building this out for the startups and businesses is as we move more and more towards agentic play, there is going to be a part of human nature about I still want to control what I do because it's my ultimate business at the end of the day. And more I give control to my agents running on my behalf, like tiny fish doing it for my business. At what point do you see that it will become completely autonomous versus where do you see the human in the loop play? I'm talking about what stage of the company. As a startup, right? Lots of people are building startup here. The value they bring is about their idea, impression about what do I need to do. They're not going to go with all agentic because of the nature of what we're building it. So I would love to hear your thoughts on at what stage what you're building is going to be truly valuable, and what are the startups going to do about the type of the play you are playing?
I think the waiting for this to become sort of, okay, now it is ready to do, might be a mistake. And the reason is, you might assume that there are these experts in this space, and we are waiting for them to say, give us the okay. I just want you to know there is no one knows what the heck is happening. I mean, even Anthropic doesn't know how the models are behaving because they're trying to now figure out through observability, like, why is it happening, right? So this is what I meant by the 1849, in the sense that if you just happen to have a pickaxe and shovel, the best thing might be to just jump in. Now, I want to be very clear. This may not be for everybody. We are all in different parts of life. We all have different tolerance for pain, as Pablo said. But what I want to do is just remember that we are also in a bubble of information, not as a bubble as an AI is in a bubble, but a bubble of information. So when you see things like notebook and agent-to-agent communication, I don't think we should assume that, oh my God, that is going to change the way I do things. What it shows is the potential, which means that it opens up things where you can start imagining things. Like if you go to San Francisco and do Waymo, yes, the first 2 times you're looking at the video of, you're trying to video the steering wheel. But after that, you don't. What you're trying to do is now, can it get me the place? And if it is taking too long and people are jumping and it's not moving, you're like, oh, damn thing, it needs to go fast. What is happening there? Outcome. There are 2 things to remember here. Number one, there will be significant job implications. I don't want to sugarcoat that. There are lots of things that we do today that are not directly connected to outcome, but they're enablers of outcome. Those jobs will be impacted. Someone once said that, I thought AI will come and, do my cooking so I can do painting. Freaking AI is coming to do the painting, I have to do the cooking. This is basically the story, because this is, so the amount of jobs that are going to be disrupted as part of enablers, that will be real. In finance, in sales, in automation, supply chain, research, there are all of these things going to be. So if you're not building an organization that is lean and mean, with extreme sort of agility coded into the DNA, then you are in big trouble. Second is, though, don't jump at every single thing that happens. When Molbook and all this, what we should be thinking is it possible for us to imagine a DAG architecture where reasoning, execution, pipelined into something else. There's reasoning, execution, pipelined into something else. If I can connect them together, can I do something much bigger? Now that could be a company or a product or a feature, but it will be something that you can imagine. So I like to sort of tell myself, which I don't always do well, is don't get caught up, just take a step back and look at it and see what does it inspire. The most important thing is the timelines have shrunk. So things that used to take 6 months reviews, you probably have to do that every 6 weeks, because things do keep changing. Things are getting abstracted out really fast.
Awesome. We're going to go ahead and wrap up there. Thank you so much, Sudheesh. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, everybody.